Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back. I am here with another anchor standard from Teaching Tolerance. This one is a treat and it's something that has been buzzing in the last few weeks or so on social media, the talk about privilege. Now, the thing about privilege is that it shouldn't be something that scares you. TeachingTolerance.org is a great place to start to help you start this conversation in the classroom. Students will recognize that power and privilege influence relationships on interpersonal, intergroup, and institutional levels. And we'll consider how these dynamics affect them in different ways. Now, when we talk about privilege, we are talking about a number of different things. Power, its influence, its relationship with you, others, institutions, and systems, and how it affects everything. For starters, don't take privilege personal. We all have it. Some of us just have it more than others. Our defensiveness, our guilt only leads to helping privilege become more of a power than what it is. We need to start to recognize it, understand it, talk about it, help others be seen. Get it? Got it? Good. Now, don't think I am not a racist. Think, what can I do to see people of color more clearly? I repeat, don't think I am not a racist. Think, what can I do to see people of color more clearly? What actions can I take to start to understand this more? Like most of these domains, my first go-to are picture books. So here are a number of picture books that you can go check out and start talking about this in your classroom. White Socks, Henry's Freedom Box, One Crazy Summer, Those Shoes, A Bike Like Sergio's, A Shelter in Our Car, Right to Learn, A Place Where Sunflowers Grow, Lily and Crow, Something Happened in Our Town, A Boy and a Jaguar, Jacob's Eye Patch, Why Johnny Doesn't Flap, Abigail the Whale, When I Was 8, Name Jar. That is just a start. Like many of these domains, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to ask you to use picture books to start this inquiry into these words. These vocabulary words that students need to start understanding now. 2nd grade, 1st grade, kindergarten. It is never too early to start talking about privilege, to start talking about anti-racist vocabulary in your classroom. Now this even goes for adults and students in high school. Now here's one thing I don't suggest. You know, the privilege walk or privilege line? I don't think that's a good idea. Here's why. Personally, I think it ties to shame. Marginalized individuals are forced to share their stories even if they don't want to. And simply no actions are really involved in helping the situation. It's a little lame. That is just my personal opinion. These activities also create some sort of divide between those who have privilege and those who don't. And that's not what we're really trying to do here, is it? Now, when we think about privilege, we need to be thinking about it in a variety of ways. When we first think about privilege, we often think about white privilege. Now, even though this is one of the most important types of privilege in this world, there are many other types of privilege that we need to recognize. For example, male, heterosexual, ageism, classism, language, religion, and ability, just to name a few, and there are so many others. Now, here are a few things that don't help the cause. Really? Now you're telling me that you don't see or refuse to see the suffering of those who do not have what you have. You're basically erasing someone's identity. Privilege is a great way into inquiry. Have students question themselves about other people. Find out what privilege really means to them. Find out what privileges they have. One thing I noticed about teaching at an international school, once we talk about them and we have examples of what these privileges are and how we have them, students really start to understand what they have and how they are privileged in this society that they are living in. Attached, you can find the invisible knapsack activity. It talks about conferring dominance and suffering, specifically white privilege. Don't be afraid, people. This is life. When we talk about it, when we notice it, we think about it, when we recognize it, when we understand it a little bit daily, when we start to listen to people, lives change, people are seen, and the world will become a better place. Let's start with our students in the classroom. Comment below, are you using these words in your classroom? Are you helping students recognize some of this anti-bias language? If you're not, maybe you are. Comment below, let me know what you're doing if you're not doing anything, and let's work together. This is a learning experience for me as well. As mentioned, I use picture books because they are a great gateway to have easy conversations for students. Help students dissect, loop back and understand, ask questions, whip it around throughout the year, bring it back, have these conversations throughout. Have students start to use the word privilege in the language they are producing in the classroom. Teaching Tolerance suggests watching a few videos. I'll link those below that help students start to understand whiteness. These may be for older grades, but it is also a great start for your classroom. Last thing, being silent is supremacy. I repeat, being silent is supremacy. Let's get to work. I'm out.